Can you guys hear me? Okay. So good afternoon. We'll be doing a lecture on the evaluation and management of nodular goiter and thyroid cancer. So I got my lecture on Cummings otolaryngology. This is the Bible of the ENT head and neck surgeons. So just listen to my lecture. I think that would already be enough. At the end of this session, each and every one of you should be able to have a review on the anatomy and embryology of the thyroid gland, a little of the physiology of the thyroid gland, and you should be able to discuss the different thyroid tumors.
Recording in progress.
So we'll just give you a brief background or brief review of the anatomy and physiology. So if some of you were able to attend the head and neck lecture review of Philae during your first year and also your head and neck lecture during your anatomy. So medyo similar lang rin ito. But I won't give you very detailed lecture on the anatomy anymore. So the thyroid gland is a highly vascular, ductless alveolar gland. So saan siya nakalagay? Dito sa anterior neck in front of the trachea. So it weighs between 15 to 25 grams in an adult. It comprises two lobes, the right and the left lobe, connected by a central isthmus. So the gland again lies on the anterolateral aspect of the cervical trachea with the isthmus extending across the midline and lies in front of the second, third, and tracheal rings 4. So tracheal rings 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So yan lang muna ang bibigay natin sa anatomy. And histologically, it is composed of multiple follicles. So one follicle is lined by a single layer of the follicular epithelial cells containing the colloid or the thyroglobulin. So kung makikita nyo to, ito ay isang thyroid follicle. So a thyroid follicle is the basic structural unit of the thyroid gland. Kung meron man, extension, long narrow projection ng thyroid tissue extending upward from the isthmus or arising from each lobe. Ang tawag dito ay pyramidal lobe. So hindi lahat ng tao ay may pyramidal lobe. It's just approximately 50% of the population that has this pyramidal lobe. Very important to know kasi when you do dissection, you have to see everything. So again, the thyroid gland is surrounded by a thin fibrous capsule which sends septa deeply into the gland. So you have the anterior group. Ang importante dito is the posterior group. So ito ay dense connective tissue that attaches the capsule to the cricoid cartilage in the first two tracheal rings. So itong posterior group is composed of the middle layer of the deep cervical fascia and they condense to form the suspensory ligament of Berry. So, importante rin to. That's why ito yung pinili kong i-lecture sa inyo kasi when you do surgery, you have to check on this Berry's ligament because beneath this Berry's ligament lies the neurovascular bundle that goes inside the cricothyroid cartilage membrane. So for the blood supply, you have two main blood supply of the thyroid gland. First is the superior thyroid artery. Next is the inferior thyroid artery. So the thyroid gland is a highly vascular endocrine gland. Itong mga blood vessels na to lie between the fibrous capsule and the loose fascial sheath. Kung meron man variant, ito yung tinatawag nating thyroidea ima. So hindi rin present ito sa lahat. Yung iba lang ang meron ito. So the thyroidea ima is inconsistently present. Kung present man siya, nanggagaling siya sa either the brachiocephalic artery or the arch of the aorta and a-ascend siya sa harap ng trachea to the isthmus. So very important also when doing surgery. Kasi kung hindi, duduguin kayo ng duduguin. So you have to be well-versed or well-known. You have to have a very good grasp of the anatomy when you do surgery. So the right and left superior and inferior thyroid arteries, they anastomose extensively. Kung makikita nyo, nag-anastomose to extensively within the gland. So this one ensures the supply while providing potential collateral circulation between the subclavian and the external carotid arteries. So ibig sabihin, kung may bara dito, sa right superior thyroid artery, meron pang ibang blood supply na makakapag-abot dito sa superior lobe of the right thyroid gland. So, superior thyroid artery ay branch ng external carotid artery, which is the first anterior branch. Travels along the inferior constrictor muscle with the superior thyroid vein to supply the upper pole of the gland. Importante dito sa slide na to is yung superior thyroid artery is intimately or closely related or accompanied by the external laryngeal nerve. So kapag naputol ang superior thyroid artery, may chance ang maputol din sa external laryngeal nerve kung hindi nyo alam ang position niya. So very important ito when doing surgery. Just take note that the superior thyroid artery is the first branch of the external carotid artery and closely accompanied by the external laryngeal nerve. Yung mas malaking artery naman ng thyroid gland is the inferior thyroid artery, which is a branch of the thyrocervical trunk. At ito ay closely related kay recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay? So, paikot-ikot lang naman ang mga questions. May mga ibang SB, sushi, tequila, inferior thyroid artery ang sagot. Sa ibang year, recurrent laryngeal nerve ang sagot. So alam nyo na yan. Huwag lang kayong mag-memorize. You have to understand everything. If you have two main blood supplies of the thyroid gland, we have three venous drainage. We have the superior, the middle, and the inferior thyroid vein. Bakit ang bagal? Yun, inferior thyroid vein. So yung superior and middle thyroid vein, nagde-drain siya sa internal jugular vein. While the inferior thyroid vein, this one drains to the innominate vein or the brachycephalic vein. Sa lymphatic drainage, we have the paratracheal nodes. Ang ibig sabihin, on each side of the trachea, prelaryngeal, ito sa harap ng larynx. It is also called the Delphian, and the deep cervical lymph nodes, which is levels 2, 3, and 4. Ito yung jugulodigastric chain of lymph node. This is behind the IJV. So nandoon siya sa carotid sheath. So yung isthmus at medial thyroid lobes, nagde-drain siya sa prelaryngeal. Then to the pretracheal. Pretracheal is anterior to the trachea bago siya pupunta kay paratracheal. Okay? The prelaryngeal nodes then drain into the superior deep cervical lymph nodes. Yung pretracheal naman and yung paratracheal lymph node, nagde-drain siya sa inferior deep cervical nodes. So yung lateral thyroid lobes, they drain initially to the internal jugular chain. Tapos, ito naman, lahat ng lymph nodes na to, magde-drain kay brachiocephalic lymph nodes or the thoracic lymph node. Nerve supply. The thyroid gland has predominantly sympathetic innervation from the superior, middle, and inferior cervical ganglia. So they reach the gland through the cardiac and superior and inferior thyroid periarterial plexus that accompany the thyroid vessels. So relationship ng blood supply and the laryngeal innervation, yung memorize ko sa inyo kanina. So we have the laryngeal nerves. We have two superior laryngeal nerves, laryngeal nerve and the recurrent laryngeal nerve. The superior laryngeal nerve is divided into the internal and external branch. So let's start with the superior laryngeal nerve. It originates sa inferior ganglion of the vagus nerve na malapit sa jugular foramen. So at the greater cornu, ito yung greater cornu, at the greater cornu of the hyoid, it divides into the internal branch and the external branch. Yung internal branch will pierce the thyrohyoid muscle and the thyrohyoid membrane. Piercing the thyrohyoid membrane along with the superior thyroid artery and the superior thyroid vein. So ito yan. So at the level of the superior thyroid horn of the thyroid cartilage, so dito, yung external branch naman turns medially and runs posterior and parallel to the oblique line. Ito yung oblique line, penetrating the inferior constrictor muscle. So it is typically deep to the superior thyroid artery. So review lang to ng anatomy. Superior laryngeal nerve, internal branch is purely sensory above that supplies the mucosa above the level of the vocal cord. At yung external branch naman ay motor to the cricothyroid muscle. Yung cricothyroid muscle tenses the vocal cord. So pag nag-tense yung vocal cord mo, high pitch. Ganon. So this is the right vocal cord and this is the left vocal cord. So this is the mucosa above the vocal cord. Sensation is from the internal branch. Another view. Ito yung mucosa above the vocal cord. So internal branch ang nagsusupply nito. Okay? So external branch is motor to the cricothyroid muscle. So kapag may damage ka sa external branch ng superior laryngeal nerve, paralysis ng cricothyroid muscle. And if you have a paralysis of the cricothyroid muscle, yung tensor function ng vocal cord will be lost. Kung nawala yung tensor function niya, wala ka ng fine tuning. So, pag pinag-inyo yung pasyente, hindi na niya ma-reach yung high pitch. So, on physical examination, merong bowing. Bowing ng vocal cord. Kita ba? Yan. So, ito. Yan. So, this is the right vocal cord. This is the left vocal cord. Nakita nyo, naka-bow siya. Medyo concave when trying to phonate. So, the right vocal cord is reaching the midline. Itong left vocal cord cannot reach pero is trying to move. Recurrent laryngeal nerve naman arises from the vagus nerve. Makikita niyo yung right loops around the subclavian artery and the left loops around the arch of the aorta, then goes back up to pierce the cricothyroid muscle and the cricothyroid membrane. So it supplies all the muscles except for the cricothyroid. The cricothyroid is supplied by the external branch of the superior laryngeal nerve. So ang function ni recurrent laryngeal nerve, motor to the intrinsic muscles of the larynx and sensory to the mucosa below the level of the vocal cord. Okay? Medyo mabagal lang yung internet. Ang laki na binabayad natin dito. So itong slide na to just shows you yung relationship ng inferior thyroid artery with the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So iba-iba, may variation siya. Pero approximately majority of it is under, yung nerve is under the inferior thyroid artery. So you have to be very careful in dissecting para hindi mo maputol ang recurrent laryngeal nerve. At ang pagpaakyat na, bago siya pumasok sa cricothyroid membrane, you have to check for the Berry's ligament para safe tayo na hindi natin maputol. Dahil kapag naputol ang nerve, pwede ka tayong magkaroon ng paralysis ng intrinsic muscles of the larynx that may produce hoarseness of the voice. Okay, sa embryology, bakit ang bagal nga? So during the 4th week of development, the foramen cecum develops as an endodermal thickening. So ang importante dito, 4th week, endodermal thickening, floor of the primitive pharynx, junction between the first and the second pharyngeal pouch. So unang nagpo-form ang medial andlage. So ang medial andlage is the isthmus and the medial thyroid lobe. So first and second pharyngeal pouch, tas bababa siya. Bababa siya. And will reach the final position at the 7th week of gestation in front of the tracheal rings 2, 3, and 4. So 4th week, endodermal thickening, ventral or anterior diverticulum sa foramen cecum na nasa base ng tongue. So next, yung proximal portion ng medial andlage, ito. Nagre-retract siya kasi ito yung connection niya sa foramen cecum. So this one should retract. This one retracts and forms a solid fibrous stalk early in the 5th week. So ito tinatawag nating thyroglossal duct. And this thyroglossal duct ultimately atrophies. Kasi kung hindi siya mag-atrophy, pwede kang magkaroon ng thyroglossal duct cyst. So the proximal portion of this structure retracts and degenerates into a solid fibrous stalk. Solid fibrous stalk at the 5th week of gestation. And the lateral thyroid lobe naman, lateral primordia, ito na yung lateral thyroid lobe, galing naman siya sa 4th and 5th. Yung medial ay galing kay 1st and 2nd pharyngeal pouch. The lateral primordia or the lateral thyroid lobe arises from the 4th and the 5th pharyngeal pouches and descend to join the central compartment. So everything happens at the 7th week of gestation. So there are two cells that can be found sa thyroid gland, the principal cells which produces the thyroglobulin and the parafollicular cells which produces the thyrocalcitonin. Ang thyroglobulin, ito ay protein used by the thyroid gland para makapag-produce ng T3 and T4. So this is very important in the thyroid hormone synthesis. Yung parafollicular C cells naman, ito namang mga cells na to ay nag-a-arise sa neural crest ng 4th pharyngeal pouch as the ultimobranchial bodies and infiltrate the upper portion of the thyroid lobes. So they secrete thyrocalcitonin. The thyrocalcitonin controls the level of the calcium and phosphate in the blood and helps in the formation of the bone. Okay? So short lang tayo. Sana ma-recall nyo lahat ng mga basics nyo during your first and your second year. The parathyroid gland naman, so these are 4 in total. Usually 4, pero minsan madami siya, 5, 6, 7, pero the normal is 4. So you have 4 separate glands which secretes parathyroid hormone. This parathyroid hormone controls the calcium metabolism. So both parathyroid glands are supplied by the superior and the inferior thyroid artery, but mainly by the inferior thyroid artery. So sa embryology, sa endoderm din siya galing ng 3rd and 4th pharyngeal pouch at the 5th week of gestation. So di ba ang thyroid gland nagsa-start to form at the 4th week of gestation. Sa 5th week of gestation, nagpo-form na si parathyroid at dapat nagre-retract at nag-atrophy na si thyroglossal duct. So the two superior parathyroids are more constant. So si superior thyroid artery is from the 4th pharyngeal pouch, S4. At the inferior parathyroid artery is from the 3rd pharyngeal pouch, I3, S4, I3. Yun lang importante dyan. So, itong slides na to showing you the thyroid hormone synthesis. So, yung thyroid hormone, they play an important role in maintaining the energy homeostasis and regulating energy. So, ang thyroid hormone is derived from the amino acid. Derived from the amino acid, tyrosine. Nasaan na si tyrosine dito? Tyrosine. And are produced by the thyroid gland. Itong ay in response to the stimulation of the TSH produced by the anterior pituitary gland. Okay. Ito muna. Itong slides naman to muna. So yung TSH in turn is regulated by the hypophysiotropic peptide TRH, yung thyroid releasing hormone. So thyroid hormone productions also under regulation ng dietary iodine. So dito na tayo papasok. Si iodine. Ang iodine ay essential para sa thyroid hormone synthesis at saka sa normal function ng thyroid gland. So the thyroglobulin, ito naman, thyroglobulin is essential naman sa thyroid physiology. So this is a tissue-specific protein that serves a matrix for the synthesis of thyroid hormone and as a vehicle for its storage. Let's now go to the thyroid hormone homeostasis. So makikita niyo ito yung HPA axis. So ito yung anterior pituitary. Sa anterior pituitary, ito yung primary internal regulator ng thyroid function. So it is influenced virtually all phases ng thyroid metabolism. So in short, yung thyroid gland is regulated by the level of the TSH or the thyroid stimulating hormone secreted by the basophilic cells of the anterior pituitary gland. Yung release ng TRH ay yung release ng TSH is controlled by the negative feedback of the T3 and T4 serum levels and by the thyrotropin releasing hormone. Thyrotropin or thyroid releasing hormone. So nagaling kay hypothalamus. So the TRH is secreted by the hypothalamus and reaches the pituitary gland via the hypothalamic portal system. So this is just a diagram na very important kasi magagamit nyo rin to sa medicine. I don't know if you're done with endocrine gland na. Topic disorders of the endocrine gland for medicine and sa surgery also. So very important, kapag may mataas kang serum TSH, makikita mo, ang next thing you should check is the level of the T4 and the T3. Kung mataas ang TSH mo, most likely bababa ang T4 mo. Kasi nga 'di ba, dun sa HPI, the release of the thyroid hormone depends on the negative feedback of the serum T3, T4 level para mabawasan din yung release ni anterior pituitary ng TSH to the thyroid gland. So this diagram is very important for you to know by heart. Ganun lang kasimple. So ang thyroid gland controls body metabolism and has profound effect sa lahat ng bodily functions. The thyroid diseases are common. So they occur in the form of abnormalities in size, in shape, and abnormalities ng thyroid secretion. So any enlargement of the thyroid gland na non-neoplastic growth in the anterior neck is called the goiter. So lumalaki ang thyroid gland mo, pwedeng anatomically or physiologically. Anatomically, so ito yung morphologically, thyroid enlargement can be diffuse. Ibig sabihin ng diffuse, buong thyroid gland ay malaki or nodular. Nodular, non-toxic. Nodular, non-neoplastic. Functionally, lalaki siya dahil meron kang toxic goiter. Or pwedeng lumaki, non-toxic yung goiter mo, associated with euthyroidism. So WHO classification ng goiter. So grade 0, wala. Hindi malaki yung anterior neck. Grade 1, you can see kapag pina-extend nyo yung neck, makikita nyo may nakaumbo. Si grade 2, from afar pa lang, makikita nyo na malaki na siya. This is just WHO classification. So let's now go to the thyroid disorders. We're done with the anatomy and the physiology. Thyrotoxicosis. Ito ay clinico-pathologic and biochemical syndrome that results from exposure to excessive concentrations ng thyroid hormones. It can either be overt or subclinical. Overt, may symptoms ka, mataas ang serum T4, T3, so hyperthyroid siya. Mababa ang TSH. Or subclinical, normal ang T4, T3, pero mababa ang TSH din. So subclinical. So pag subclinical ka, walang symptoms. So thyrotoxicosis with hyperthyroidism are represented by Graves' disease or the toxic adenoma. Yung thyrotoxicosis naman, na without hyperthyroidism is represented by the inflammatory thyroiditis and the exogenous thyroid hormone. So medically, meron tayong hyperthyroidism at meron tayong hypothyroidism. So symptoms of hyperthyroidism are as follows. We'll not ask so much on this slide just for you to know para makorelate natin lahat medically and surgically. So isa pa to slide na symptoms ng hyperthyroid. So very important din to kasi kung meron kang symptoms nito, most likely you have a functional disorder of the thyroid gland. Hindi na tayo mag-iisip. Mas bumababa yung percentage na baka cancer ito. So sa thyroid disorders, let's go back with thyrotoxicosis with hyperthyroidism na may symptoms. So Graves' disease, most common cause of thyrotoxicosis, usually seen in women 30 to 60-year-old of age. Ang Graves' disease ay autoimmune. IgG autoantibody is responsible. So this IgG autoantibody binds to the TSH binding receptor. So this one mimics the TSH activity. So it may consist of one or more of this following: hyperthyroidism with thyrotoxicosis, diffuse thyroid enlargement, infiltrative ophthalmopathy o may exophthalmos, yung lumuluwa na talaga ang mata, localized myxedema. So this one is the dermopathy, and thyroid acropathy. So yung thyroid acropathy ay extreme na manifestation ng autoimmune disease ni Graves' disease. So this one presents with digital clubbing, swelling ng digits or ng toes, and may periosteal reaction ng extremity bones. Okay, clear tayo dyan. Medical to. So the thyrotoxicosis that occurs in all forms of thyroiditis is caused by the T4 and T3 release from the thyroglobulin as a result of thyroid inflammation and disruption of thyroid follicles. At nangyayari yan sa thyroiditis. You have the different thyroiditis. So I leave these topics for you to read. Ilabas ba natin to sa exam? Siguro kung maglalabas tayo dito, si subacute thyroiditis ang ilalabas natin. Let's now go to the hypothyroidism. So this is a common endocrine disorder from deficiency ng thyroid hormone. So a process in which the thyroid gland is unable to produce sufficient amounts of thyroid hormone. O yung thyroid gland, insufficient yung natatanggap niyang stimulation dahil mababa ang secretion ng thyrotropin from the hypothalamus, from the pituitary gland. So it affects people of all ages, genders, and ethnicity, but affects women 4-fold to 6-fold more than men. Ano ang main cause ng hypothyroidism? Iodine deficiency pa rin ang foremost cause ng hypothyroidism. At sa mga areas na adequate naman yung iodine intake, ang cause ng hypothyroidism is an autoimmune disorder. So ang autoimmune disorder that causes the hypothyroidism is called the Hashimoto's. So ito naman yung most common cause ng hypothyroidism. Yan ang Hashimoto's. Autoimmune siya. kung meron tayong autoimmune disorders, hyperthyroidism caused by Graves' disease, si hypothyroidism naman is from the Hashimoto's. So patients with hypothyroidism may present the following symptoms. Opposite lang siya ni hyperthyroidism. Underactive thyroid. So, ito. So, yung mahina ka naman kumain pero bakit ka nag-gain weight? Magpa-laboratorio na tayo. Mabilis mapagod, dry, rusty yung hair, scaly yung skin, dry. So, pagka ganon, ayun, may depression and impaired memory, pwede tayong magpa-TSH. Supported na mataas yung suspicion from the history. So we're done with the medical problem, the functional disorder ng thyroid glands. We'll now go to the thyroid neoplasms. So these thyroid neoplasms represent almost 95% ng endocrine tumors. Although relatively uncommon and account for approximately 2.5 of all malignancies. So 2.5 lang siya sa lahat ng malignancies pero 95% siya sa endocrine tumors. So yung incidence ng thyroid cancer is tumataas na dahil sa advent ng technology natin. So, early detection, nakikita na natin, and other factors may also be affecting the biology and incidence of the thyroid cancer. So, kawawa na naman ang mga babae kasi women are 3 times more likely than men to develop differentiated thyroid cancers and 2 times more likely na anaplastic yung thyroid cancer niya. So sa exposure to ionizing radiation remains the only well-established environmental risk factor ng thyroid cancer. So the incidence of thyroid nodules, so yun thyroid neoplasm. Kaya ako nilagay dito yung thyroid nodule kasi minsan may incidental finding tayo ng thyroid nodule. Yun lang ang sole symptom, yung thyroid nodule. Yun lang yung sole symptom. So the incidence ng thyroid nodule is significantly greater and affects approximately 4 to 7% of the population. Although most of these nodules are benign, so yung challenge na to identify the 5% ay nandoon sa mga patients with malignant lesions. So ito rin siya. Inulit ko lang siya. So, sabi natin kanina, tumataas ang incidence niya dahil sa technology, may ultrasound na tayo, kaya nakikita natin yung nodule mismo. Kaya nakakapag-early detect tayo kasi nababiopsy natin siya. At yung increase ng incidence, sabi natin, may also be from the biology and incidence, from the biology ng thyroid. So, yung increase ng incidence is completely attributable to papillary thyroid cancer. So, ang most common well-differentiated thyroid carcinoma is a papillary thyroid cancer. Ulitin-ulit natin, women are 3 times more likely than men to develop differentiated thyroid cancer and 2 times more likely to have anaplastic. Ang median age at diagnosis is 47 years old, with peak in women at 45 to 49 and in men at 65 to 69. So sabi natin kanina, ang ionizing radiation remains the only well-established environmental risk factor at walang role si dietary iodine sa pagkakaroon ng cancer ng thyroid. So a family history of thyroid carcinoma also gives high detection na familial siya. So a patient with family history of thyroid carcinoma may require specific diagnostic testing. And minsan, isang bukol lang ang nakikita. Hindi nakakapa ang leeg, hindi malaki, pero sa ultrasound may nodule na nakita. So that nodule warrants further examination. So ito yan. Minsan ito lang yung nakikita, normal lahat. Normal lahat except incidental findings of a thyroid nodule. So the common presentation of thyroid carcinoma, as I said earlier, here is the development of thyroid mass or the thyroid nodule. Although itong mga nodules na to represent a wide spectrum of disease, mostly naman are colloid nodules. So, tubig ang laman. O kaya solid na may tubig sa loob. So, cystic siya. Pwedeng adenoma pag solid siya or focal thyroiditis. So, only a few 5% are carcinoma. Sabi nga natin kanina, majority naman are benign. Pero yung hirap ng paghanap ng 5% doon sa mga population na malignant ay nandoon pa rin. So, dahil ang lifetime risk for developing a palpable thyroid nodule is estimated at 4 to 7%. However, high-resolution ultrasound, kaya nga tumataas ang incidence natin ngayon dahil sa high-resolution ultrasound. So, this one reveals thyroid nodules in approximately 19 to 68% of randomly selected individuals. Kaya huwag kayong magpa-ultrasound na magpa-ultrasound. Pagdating nyo ng clerkship, yung mga nag-rotate sa radio, biglang, pa ultrasound naman. So madaming clerk na na-operahan na for thyroid CA dahil sa incidental finding ng thyroid nodules sa ultrasound, and upon biopsy, thyroid carcinoma siya. So most of these nodules are benign and do not require removal. So only estimated 5 to 15% of nodules are malignant. So sabi natin kanina, nodule are more common as age increases and as iodine intake decreases. Nodule, hindi cancer kasi walang role ang iodine intake sa pagkakaroon ng cancer. So, most common in women pero kapag merong nakitang nodule sa lalaki, more likely na cancer siya. Pero mas common siya sa women. So men often have more aggressive malignancies than women. But yung overall incidence of the thyroid nodules and malignancy is higher in women. So ibig sabihin lang, pag nakakita ng nodule sa lalaki, most likely ay cancer siya. So we're done with the theoretical parts. Let's now go to the evaluation of a thyroid nodule. So evaluating thyroid nodule is an involved process na nagbibigin sa history taking, then performing physical examination, and choosing the appropriate additional test. Sino ba ang mayroong high index of suspicion na mayroong cancer? Younger and older patients are more likely to have malignant thyroid nodule. So yung patients na less than 20 years have an approximately 20 to 50% incidence of malignancy when presenting with a solitary thyroid nodule. Importante din ang gender. 'Di ba sabi natin, most common, 3-fold, 4-fold, 5-fold sa female. Pero pag nakitaan sa lalaki, most likely cancer talaga siya. Yun. So when a thyroid nodule is present, the risk of malignancy in male is twice that of a female. So kung meron kang history ng previous head and neck radiation exposure, pinapataas niya kasi ang risk ng malignancy sa pasyenteng merong thyroid nodule. So pag sa history tinanong mo na na-expose siya, kaya di ba isa sa Hiroshima bombing, malataas ang incidence ng thyroid cancer sa Japan because of the Hiroshima bombing. At you have to check if there's a signs and symptoms of hyper and hypothyroidism, kasi kung meron kang symptoms at signs ng hyper and hypothyroidism, babagsak ang suspetsa mo na merong thyroid neoplasm. So these are the other symptoms. Rapidity of growth can be telling and is worth the time to elicit in detail. So very rapid enlargement over hours, days lang with pain. Ito may suggest na dumugo siya, pumutok into an existing nodule. Although 90% of hemorrhagic nodules are benign, this finding should not be reassuring kasi yung remaining 10% ay malignant. So a rate even higher than of the average non-hemorrhagic nodule. Non-neoplastic goiters tend to develop over years. Kung may mapapansin kayo sa areas na endemic, sa Romblon, sa North, sa Ilocos, may mga malalaki. May mga malalaki. Pag kinapa nyo, parang tubig lang sa loob. So these are non-neoplastic goiters and they tend to develop over years. So alternatively, rapid growth over weeks is more strongly associated with malignancy, and rapid growth during levothyroxine therapy is especially suggestive of cancer. So naka-levothyroxine therapy ka na tapos lumalaki pa rin siya, suggestive of cancer siya. So other symptoms, if you have throat or neck pain, so kung meron ka nito, this is rarely associated with carcinoma, pero frequently occurs with hemorrhage into a benign nodule. So patients should be carefully questioned regarding any compressive or invasive symptoms such as voice change, hoarseness, dysphagia. Family history, sabi natin kanina, kung may family history ng thyroid cancer, malaki ang suspetsya, mataas ang risk of malignancy. So this one should be carefully evaluated. Kaya any patients with history of medullary cancer sa family, o pheochromocytoma or hyperparathyroidism, this one should raise the suspicion for Men's syndrome. Sa slide na to, ano pang importante dito? Gardner polyposis coli and Cowden disease also have been well associated with well-differentiated carcinomas. Si Hashimoto's naman ay nagpo-progress o predispose siya sa thyroid lymphoma. Okay? So kung may thyroid lymphoma ka, pwedeng na-treat na siya ng Hashimoto's before. So these are the other symptoms of invasion such as the airway compression, hoarseness, dysphagia. So kung meron kang ganito, this requires prompt evaluation for malignancy. Although hindi siya very sensitive or specific. So clinical findings associated with increase. So ito rin yung mga sinabi ko kanina. PE naman, following a thorough history, the next step in evaluating a patient with a thyroid nodule is complete head and neck examination. So the size and presence of thyroid of any other palpable nodules should be noted. Kapag may lesion ka greater than 1 cm, this one warrants a complete workup. So yung consistency, i-check din natin. Firm ba siya? Solid, cystic, or rubbery? So kasi the firmer, the harder the nodule, the greater the concern for carcinoma. So fixation, pag naka-fix ba siya? Kasi pag naka-fix siya, baka may invasion na. So this one suggests cellular invasion and malignancy. So the clinician should determine whether the lesion is solitary or dominant, or the dominant nodule in a multinodular gland. Although yung risk ng carcinoma in either setting is the same. So, you have to do a complete laryngeal examination to check for the vocal cord mobility kasi nga, pag may hoarseness siya, paralyzed, pwedeng mataas ang suspetsa na meron siyang cancer. Other physical examination findings suggestive of malignancy. Ano ba yung kanina? Parang same lang. No. Size of the thyroid. So, ito, pertaining to the findings. Fixation, adenopathy, fixed cord, induration, o stridor kasi may compressive symptoms na. Although, sabi natin kanina, this is not very sensitive and specific. Kung may compressive symptom ka na, so this, for a large or inferiorly located thyroid lesions, pinapagawa natin yung Pemberton's sign. Pemberton's. So kapag positive ka sa Pemberton's maneuver. So pag positive ka sa Pemberton's, this one should be sought to evaluate the degree of substernal extension. So, nire-raise yung both hands, arms over the head. So, this one results in the enlargement of the mass or subjective airway compression by venous congestion when a large substernal component is present. Baka meron ka ng superior vena cava syndrome. So, ito namang bumagsak na white thingy dito are for the nodules, suggestive of malignancy. If you have nodules larger than 4 cm, firmness sa palpation, di ba? The harder the consistency, the higher the risk of malignancy. Fixation, non-movable na. So let's now go to the diagnostics. So after ng history and PE, kailangan ba nating magpagawa ng ancillary test o pwede nang hindi? So the degree of suspicion for malignancy can be categorized as low, moderate, and high. So appropriate laboratory studies can be chosen at this time. Although maraming tests are available, typically very few are necessary. So ang isang excellent screening test ng thyroid nodule is TSH para malaman natin kung hyperthyroid siya or hypothyroid. So patients with abnormal TSH should have full thyroid function test. So pag tinanong kayo sa exam, what is the initial management for a thyroid disorder, TSH ang isasagot ninyo. Okay? Ang ionized calcium naman, kapag elevated, this one may indicate the need for parathyroid surgery dahil mataas ang suspicion mo na merong parathyroid carcinoma. So this helps the surgeon diagnose a parathyroid adenoma, mimicking a thyroid nodule, or identify primary hyperparathyroidism, which also raises the possibility ng MEN1 or 2 and allows one to plan for combined thyroid parathyroid surgery para maiwasan na yung unnecessary risk of returning kapag binasahan ka ng pathologist na parathyroid cancer siya. So, yung mga test na hindi dapat i-order initially is the thyroglobulin. Kasi yung thyroglobulin, this one is for the post-treatment or surveillance post-surgery ng well-differentiated thyroid carcinoma. Ang calcitonin levels naman, papagawa mo lang kapag meron kang high index of suspicion or with a family history of medullary cancer or may MEN disorder siya, syndrome siya, you get the calcitonin. So these two are not included in the initial evaluation. So if a person or family history of medullary thyroid carcinoma exists, or if the fine needle aspiration suggests the diagnosis, then mutational screening ng RET proto-oncogene should be employed. And that's the time na papagawa natin yung calcitonin. Okay? So ang single most important diagnostic evaluation naman ng thyroid mass is an FNAB. Yung kanina, thyroid disorder. So this is the safest and most cost-effective and most reliable technique available to differentiate between benign and malignant disease. Highly accurate siya, hindi siya mahal, at low ang morbidity niya. Seeding, close to a zero yung seeding niya. Processing time usually takes few days. Minsan kapag mabilis, sandali lang naman ang processing eh. Pag na-process na yan, na-fix na, pwede nang basahin ng pathologist, minsan, in a day, lalabas na siya. So, it is estimated that its use reduces the number of thyroidectomies by half and overall cost of thyroid nodule medical care by 1/4, while doubling the surgical confirmation of carcinoma. So, ang ma-opera lang natin ay yung may cancer lang. Hindi katulad dati, pag may bukol, opera na kaagad. So, ang pathologists are using this one. So, meron tayong dalawa. Almost the same lang naman siya. Yung Bethesda is the upper one. So, the Bethesda scoring or Bethesda system for thyroid cytopathology, kapag sinabing non-diagnostic or unsatisfactory, at least 4% lang siya risk of malignancy. Pag sinabing benign, 3% lang ang risk of malignancy. Pag sinabing benign, benign talaga siya. Mataas ang sensitivity and specificity ng fine needle aspiration cytology or biopsy. Kapag sinabi niyang suspicious for malignancy, mataas ang risk of malignancy. So, memorize this one. Memorize this one. Kahit yung sa Bethesda lang. May lalabas isa dyan. Sinasabi ko na, imaging studies following initial evaluation, use ng selected radiographic studies may be helpful in managing thyroid masses. So plain film, hindi natin masyadong ginagawa. Thyroid ultrasound, this is an invaluable instrument in evaluating thyroid nodular disease. So it is non-invasive, may be more readily available than the FNAB. And in primary care setting and provides information that may suggest malignancy or benign disease. So, highly sensitive. Yun nga, pag sa area na wala namang magbabasa ng pathologies, papadala mo pa sa Maynila, tapos may available ng ultrasound kasi pwede naman siyang mabasa ng ultrasound. May ultrasound findings suggestive of a thyroid malignancy. So sa ultrasound, pwede natin sabihin kung thyroid siya o non-thyroid, pwedeng cystic or solid. We use the ultrasound for localization, for needle placement ng biopsy. So these are the sonographic findings that may be suggestive of a thyroid malignancy. Kung may microcalcification siya, absence ng halo, irregular margins, hypoechoic, increase intranodular flow. Ito naman yung ultrasonographic findings ng lymph node that may be suggestive of a thyroid carcinoma. So saan nagde-drain ang lymph node ng thyroid? Sa 2, 3, 4. So kung mayroon kang binasahan ka ng loss of fatty hilum, increase ng vascularity, rounded node configuration, hypoechogenicity or microcalcification, baka metastatic na siya to the lymph node. So CT scan and MRI, both of these imaging modalities halos walang role sa initial evaluation ng thyroid nodule at hindi masyadong pinapagawa. Pero ginagamit natin to para makapag-prepare tayo for a surgery if you suspect a substernal extension of the thyroid gland or cancer na may fix na, depende kung marami ang lymph node at may extension at metastasis na siya. Para makapagplano tayo ng surgery. So sa radioisotope imaging, so this can be used to determine if a thyroid nodule is functioning, but it does not provide an accurate measurement of size. So we have the I-131, I-123, and the technetium 99M. Although maraming pasyente dito na may thyroid nodules undergo radioactive iodine or the technetium 99 scanning, only few modern indications are used for this one. So 95% of the nodules are cold on radioactive iodine scanning. So kung cold. Ang ibig sabihin ng cold, normal or hypothyroid siya. Yung frequency ng malignancy in cold nodules is mataas, 10 to 15% versus the 4% in hot nodules. Pag binasahan ka ng radioisotope imaging or scanning na hot yung nodule niya, most likely it's hyperthyroid siya. Pero sabi nga natin, may 4% doon ay malignant. So this is the approach to the management of a patient with thyroid nodule. Initially, magti-TSH muna tayo. Titingnan kung functional disorder siya, physiologic, or kung normal naman ang physiology niya, ano ang nagpapalaki nung leeg niya? Nodule ba? Kasi kung nodule siya, ipa-ultrasound natin, or kung malaki na talaga, normal ang TSH, magbabiopsy ba tayo? Kung may binasahan ka na ng malignant, so paganahin natin ang utak natin para alam natin kung ano ang gagawin natin sa pasyente. So importante itong slide na to. So dito sa slide na to, marami nang lalabas na question. Picture. So let's now go to the thyroid neoplasms. Meron tayong epithelial tumors and non-epithelial tumors. Sa epithelial tumors, meron tayong benign and malignant. Sa benign, follicular adenoma lang siya, bukol lang. Normal lang thyroid function test. Pag binayopsi mo, benign din siya. So, isang bukol lang siya. Or malignant. Malignant derived from follicular cells. So, these are the follicular and the papillary, which are well-differentiated thyroid carcinoma, or derived from the parafollicular C cells, the medullary carcinoma. Meron ding anaplastic. Non-epithelial tumors are all malignant. So, ito ang thyroid lymphoma. So, ano ang nagpe-predispose sa thyroid lymphoma? Si Hashimoto's. A thyroid adenoma is a true benign neoplasm derived from follicular cells. So this occurs more commonly in women older than 30 years. Usually, patient is presented with a solitary, single, mobile thyroid nodule. So yung thyroid mass is often found incidentally lang on routine TE and frequently not associated with other signs and symptoms. So ang classic adenoma on gross pathology is fleshy and pale, although areas of necrosis, hemorrhage, and cystic changes may readily be apparent. Hindi na natin tatanungin sa exam nyo ang pathology. Hayaan na natin kay Pato yan. So ito lang sinasabi natin na yung bukol pwedeng adenoma lang siya, benign. So nodules with a nodular goiter occasionally may be hyperfunctional or hot. So itong mga lesions na to ay termed as the autonomously hyperfunctioning thyroid adenomas and may or may not cause thyrotoxicosis. So ang challenge dito is to differentiate adenoma and carcinoma. So para ma-differentiate lang natin yung bukol na yun kung carcinoma siya o adenoma, we have to do a fine needle aspiration. Okay? Ano pang gusto kong sabihin dito? Kung cancer siya, ang gagawin natin ay surgery. But if you read some books, minimum diagnostic procedure is to do a thyroid lobectomy. But with the advent of a fine needle aspiration cytology, pwedeng hindi na natin siya i-thyroid lobectomy. I-FNAB na lang natin siya para malaman natin kung adenoma or carcinoma. Kung adenoma siya, pwede na natin hindi operahan. So kung benign ng nodule mo, ang guideline recommendation for surveillance or to check, kasi baka biglang lumaki o mag-change yung itsura niya. So guideline recommendation for serial clinical examination is every 6 to 18 months. So mag-oopera lang tayo kung ang thyroid nodule ay binasahan ng follicular neoplasm. Matatapos na tayo. So incidence of thyroid malignancy, mostly it's papillary carcinoma. This is the staging for thyroid cancer. Para alam nyo, cancer siya, ini-stage din siya. Pero huwag nyo na i-memorize to. Hindi ko na ilalabas to. Hindi ko na ilalabas to. So TNM staging. Para malaman natin kung ano ang stage kasi very important. So sa stage na to, kung stage 1 kasi, para malaman natin, the lower the stage, mas mataas ang 10-year disease-specific survival rates. So close to a lifetime if you are presented with a well-differentiated thyroid carcinoma at stage 1 and 2. You just have to do the proper appropriate management for the patient with thyroid neoplasm. So papillary thyroid carcinoma is the most common at approximately 60 to 70%. Histology nito, alam niyo naman, kapag may Samoma body or orphan Annie, thyroid papillary na siya. So it is locally invasive and spread via lymphatic system. Itong papillary thyroid carcinoma has the best prognosis. So ito ay pathology, histology ng papillary thyroid carcinoma. So makikita nyo at scanning view, may fibrovascular core. At pag i-zoom na ano bang term na yon? Minagnify na natin, makikita nyo na yung papillary folds. Sa scanner view, makikita nyo yung papillary folds niya. Yan, yung mga papillary folds. Pagka minagnify nyo na, makikita nyo na si Samoma body at saka si orphan Annie. Orphan Annie eyes. So ground glass nuclei. Yan, yung nuclei niya. Ito. Yan. Management, thyroidectomy. And post-thyroidectomy, you have to do an RAI and post-surgical monitoring of thyroglobulin. And we have to do a TSH suppression therapy. Follicular carcinoma. Kanina is papillary. These are follicular neoplasms. So these two are well-differentiated thyroid carcinoma. Matatapos na tayo. More common in iodine-deficient regions. Difficult to diagnose by fine needle aspiration dahil yung distinction ng benign at malignant follicular neoplasm dapat nakikita natin sa invasion ng neurovascular, ng VELS. Meron ng invasion doon sa vessels, sa nerves, sa adjacent structure. Kaya sa fine needle aspiration, babasahan ka lang niyang follicular neoplasm. Para malaman lang natin kung follicular adenoma or carcinoma, we have to do a thyroidectomy para makuha yung bukol. So in contrast sa papillary carcinoma, these follicular thyroid carcinomas are less likely to metastasize via lymphatic pathways. So it spreads via the blood or hematogenous. Good rin ang prognosis, although less compared to the papillary carcinoma. Histology, iiwan na lang natin yan kay pathology. Management, thyroid lobectomy. Thyroid lobectomy ba with isthmusectomy or complete thyroidectomy? So depende yan kung single or multiple nodule na nakikita. So medullary carcinoma, this is rare. Only about 5% of the thyroid malignancies na sabi natin kanina derive from the parafollicular C cells which secretes calcitonin. So pag chinek nyo yung calcitonin levels niya mataas, usually etiology niya sporadic in 75% of the cases and hereditary in 25%. So kung hereditary siya, yung mutation of the ret proto-uncle gene kailangan ipagawa. Because this medullary carcinoma can be part of the Men's syndrome. It has a poor prognosis, kaya mas maganda ang early detection and treatment. Ano pa ba? This one, ang important sa slide dito, medullary carcinoma do not take up radioiodine. So external radiation treatment and targeted kinase inhibitors may provide palliation in patients with advanced disease. Mataas ang mortality nito after diagnosis. Management, total thyroidectomy, this is still the treatment of choice in patients with medullary thyroid carcinoma. Dahil ang lesion ay high incidence of multicentricity and aggressive disease course. Dahil sa frequent involvement ng cervical lymph node, yan, kasi question, di ba, neck dissection, dahil sa frequent involvement ng cervical nodes, initial surgical management should include bilateral central compartment neck dissection. So sabi natin kanina, medullary thyroid carcinoma do not respond to radioiodine therapy or TSH suppression therapy. However, dahil of its parafollicular C cell origin. So, close up following after thyroidectomy, the serum calcitonin level and the CEA levels. Prognosis, overall 10-year survival rate is mababa na compared to the papillary and follicular, 61 to 75%. Kapag may lymph nodes ka pa, positive ang lymph nodes, bumababa pa yung survival rate niya to 45%. Anaplastic, this is the most aggressive of thyroid carcinoma. Recently, I have one patient lang na hindi na bumalik. So this one has the poorest prognosis, has the poorest response to radioiodine treatment. Chemotherapy is ineffective, and mortality rate is high after diagnosis, usually 3 to 6 months from the time of diagnosis. Lymphoma, rapidly expanding thyroid mass. This one is highly sensitive to external radiation. Pero, like the anaplastic carcinoma, surgical resection should be avoided. Kung si anaplastic, bakit natin i-avoid si thyroidectomy? Kasi nga madugo siya, baka una pang humilata ang surgeon kaysa sa doon sa pasyente. Sa lymphoma naman, initial therapy because it may spread the disease that is otherwise localized lang sa thyroid. Sometimes it arises in the background of Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And the most common type is the diffuse large cell lymphoma. Management, CHOP, chemotherapy. So yung prognosis depends on the histologic grade of the tumor and the presence of extrathyroid disease. Ang overall 5-year survival is about 50%. Intrathyroid disease survival is 85%. Ibig sabihin, yung lymphoma ay nakay-thyroid lang at bumababa ng 40% kapag meron na tayong extra-thyroid extension. Okay? So with the thyroid disorder, it's either you manage the thyroid disorder medically or manage the thyroid disorder surgically. Do you guys have any questions? O from 169 to 129, no? Hirapan kaya natin yung exam. Joke. Magbigay tayo ng tips sa mga nakinig. May questions pa kayo? If none, thank you very much. We'll see you on the other side of Aurora.